Hi everyone, thanks for having me. Hope we're all doing well. I'm going to talk a little bit about data, research and insights. So actually looking at one of our global annual trends reports, Connecting the Dots. So just to introduce myself first. So I've been with the business for about 6 years now, so based out of our HQ in London. Recently, we had the opportunity to set up a Singapore office to help service our indie agencies across the APAC region, especially Australia. So I'm working with a mixture of agencies from creative to digital to full service and media agencies, really helping them understand the value that you can get from GWI data. So a little bit about GWI as a whole. So we're very much a audience insights technology company. So actually, globally, we're representative of 2.7 billion people globally. And what we enable people to do is understand their target audiences. So we actually have one of the world's largest studies that looks into the digital consumer. So we have a heavy online focus. And actually, we've got a very in-depth Australian data set. So actually what we do, we make this available through an intuitive subscription-based platform, which houses over now 200,000 different data points. So you can actually create your truly unique audiences within the platform to help grow your business, understand your target audiences, and improve your client strategies. So let's kick off with our first trend. So are we spending less time online? Now, if we move to the next slide here, as you can see on the chart, internet usage has traditionally seen steady growth. But in recent years, we've seen a plateau or even a decline in some world regions. So this trend can be put down to partially to the COVID pandemic, as people have less free time now and are using the internet less for everyday activities. However, it's worth noting that certain online activities have actually experienced a boost in popularity. So a good example of that is the gaming industry. COVID offered a lot of brands an opportunity to onboard new players who stuck around after lockdowns. So we actually saw a similar thing within social media and different platforms in the social world, as well as other media forums like audio, as well as streaming services as well. So ultimately, the way we're using the internet is evolving, and these shifts in behavior can have a significant implication on the future. So that brings me nicely on to our next trend, looking into social media behaviors. So if we go back to 2014, where American author Susan Phillips made a bold prediction that in the future we won't be searching for products, but companies will find us through social media. At the time, this seemed a bit far-fetched, as most people started their shopping journeys on the likes of Google or Amazon. So fast forward to today, and even internal data at Google itself show that nearly half of young people turn to TikTok and Instagram instead of Google to search for ideas. So looking at social here, so now it's one of the so many people's shopping journeys first stop. While finding information is still the top reason to go online, it's actually not as powerful as it used to be. So in fact, the number of consumers who say they research products before making a purchase has dropped 8% since 2020. So while Gen Z is more likely to buy online than baby boomers, they're less likely to describe shopping as a top benefit of the internet. Instead, they value the likes of a community or interests and the community vibe and interests. So in other words, they start their search from a place of curiosity and expect to be led down a fun rabbit hole of new ideas, rather than being directed to a list of brands or products. So moving on from to a world without limitations, looking at the world of the metaverse. You won't need a VR headset to help this come to life. Hopefully you'll find out a little bit more information on who these people are. So when you're looking at the metaverse, it's first worth looking at who's interested in participating and what the implications are of that. So early metaverse adopters were considered as male, high-income households, generally tech-driven individuals, while actually those who prefer to spend time online are much more diverse than that. So this means there's a greater emphasis on, the metaverse for future opportunities, like Social pioneered, to bring different communities together online. So the lessons learned from early virtual worlds highlighted how important online identity is to users, where they like to disclose as much or as little as their real-world personalities they choose to. So actually, it's why it's so important to welcome on board those users who may not have engaged with virtual spaces yet, and the responsibility lies both internally and externally, from stakeholders to actually act upon this and do so. So, moving on from the virtual world to one that's very real, and if you had cost of living on your mind, you'd be correct. So, we'll be looking at what consumers might treat themselves to this year. So, it's no secret that during a recession, people's priorities can shift. Some products and services were once considered essentials have become more like treats or even expendables. So what can we expect for 2023? When it comes to splurging on a budget, clothing is the top choice for all generations and genders. While price is important, consumers are also looking for quality when it comes to clothing. So in fact, our research shows that having quality is actually a top purchase driver here. So when brands are focusing on messaging, it should be focused around durability and quality in their items to appeal to consumers who want to make the most out of their money. Cool, so coming to our final trend, sustainability, the environment, always a hot topic. But actually what we found in recent years, while most individuals will tell you they care about the environment, patterns have emerged when asking millions of people about their attitudes towards the environment over time and how that's actually changed. We've actually, in fact, in most of the countries we track, we've seen that now fewer people say that helping the environment is as important to them than compared to before the pandemic. So, and actually in every country we track, the number of people who expect brands to be eco-friendly have decreased in recent years. So unfortunately, sustainability now has to compete with the mental bandwidth when many are actively disengaging with these current affairs. So thank you very much for your time, and to learn a little bit about GWI, if you want to find out more, definitely find me and I can show you how the platform works. Thank you.